And welcome back to the Sideline Chat podcast, where today we're going to take a look at the Betfred Super League Round 4-5 debrief. Now, I got to say, a little bit nervous for a couple of the West Yorkshire teams, but some have been able to rise to the top more than others. Leeds Rhinos, for instance, coming up over Wakefield Trinity, 34 points to 18.
I mean, Wakefield did, come back a little bit, but it was, not really come back, I wouldn't say, but they did get a couple of late tries on the board. They're more like consolation tries for them, but Rhinos just you could say, in control.
5 tries in the first half. It was complete and utter dominance, and they only took 3 minutes for them to get over.
That is true. Once the one try scores in that short amount of time, you know that there's going to be a big score racked up here, or racked up in general, and that's sort of what happened with the Rhinos. I mean, getting 34 points is a big score, but the victory doesn't look as big as what it should have been, if that makes sense.
It's the whole picture you're looking at, rather than half by half. And you're right. Leeds shot out to a 5-try lead, and they let Wakefield back in the final 20 minutes. Or not necessarily the final 20, but in the back 40, they let them in.
Yes. And there was really no need for it. Like, Rhinos were in control. They should have stayed. I mean, they still stayed in control, don't get me wrong, but letting 18 points in, still stuff needs to be done about that.
Well, time will tell. Defensive performances are fickle things, but this was an attacking display, and they really put the Wakefield left edge through the ringer, and poor old Lewis Murphy on the right-hand side of Wakefield's defensive line completely out of his depth.
It certainly was, and an error turned into points for Leeds. It wouldn't have done his confidence it wouldn't have done his confidence that brilliant. So, I mean, errors happen. It's unfortunate some of them pay off into points.
The interchange of passing, because I think Liam Sutcliffe has struggled over the last 5 or so years to find his place in the side. He's been run out at centre, he's been run out at standoff, they tried to move him to an edge, then they've moved him back into the centre. I still think he should have been an edge, but I think there are benefits of playing him in the centres. And between him, he's got Jack Walker on his outside that gets him good ball, and he can get it out to Ash Handley. And on the other side, or inside I should say, if I said outside. So inside he's got Jack Walker. To his outside he's got this big, tall, lanky frame in Ash Handley. They just unlocked that combination. And then you add Morgan Gannon, who's been given a chance over the fact that James Bentley was available. What does that say to you about what Richard Agar's looking at the moment?
Look, he might be trying something different to see how Gannon goes, and if he didn't perform that well, then Bentley might have been back into the squad for round number 5?
Round 5.
For round 5, so... But Gannon put in a good performance. Well, he scored a try, so it'll be hard for Bentley to come back into the side after that performance by Gannon.
I have no doubt he will, but whether it's from the interchange or from the starting edge, that's the question.
The worst comes to worst, will be off the bench, which I say is what Richard Agar will do, is bring him off the bench.
Yeah, that's probably about fair enough. Now, the lead standout, I have to go with Ash Handley here. He had 3 tries, 206 running meters, 8 tackle breaks, and 2 line breaks.
Yeah. He had a brilliant game yet again. As you just said, he scored 2 tries and set up 1. So you can't say anything bad about Ash Handley, especially when he's in a good mood like he was against Wakefield. He was just pretty much in everything. Like, he was setting up a try, he scored 2 himself, so he's hard to beat on some days. And unfortunately for Wakefield, he was hard to stop.
The only concerns for Leeds at the moment, I think, Harry Newman didn't look exactly right, and he was in fact taken off the field about half an hour to go because they think he re-aggravated his hamstring injury.
I think so, which is not a good sign. Let's hope it's not a long-term injury if he's re-aggravated.
This could end up turning into another situation like Jack Walker was in over the last 3 years. Like, he's this young firebrand of I wouldn't say firebrand, that's more of a front row, but this young, exciting talent that looks brilliant, but he just doesn't have the room to grow and show because he keeps getting injured.
Yeah. That could be the case, but I hope that isn't the case.
And as with David Fuzatua, I think he was fine after he scored his try from memory.
Yeah.
So, no concerns over Fuzatua, but Newman there is.
Yeah, so there's not one player, there's always another player that's a bit of concern about, but let's hope it's nothing bad for Newman.
I really don't know where Wakefield goes. Even after the fight back, they did it pull off by returning serve over misfielding the ball in the second half that led up to Matty Asher's try to that spectacular kick for Tom Johnston. Again, how many tries has Tom Johnston put himself in the position of that it came off a kick that he positioned himself nicely?
Oh, this season alone, probably near half dozen, so 6, maybe a bit less, give or take.
I'm counting 2 at least.
Oh, well,
Trinity haven't had that much room to move. Maybe 3. I think 3 is fair. The games against Catalan, Saints, and now Leeds in quick succession.
Yeah, I was a bit off, but give or take. But yeah, no, if he keeps that up, well, you never know.
But that's all Wakefield can do is just try and kick it out to Tom Johnston. They don't have any other strike players to turn to.
They don't, which they really need to fix on and try and get, or they'll be going downhill very quickly, even further than what they already are.
Well, if they don't win this week, it could really get ugly for Willie Poaching. And I probably saw this coming from a mile away already, but we'll see how that one pans out. Now, Hull KR, they didn't have a very good night. It's getting smashed by the reigning champions, 42 points to 8.
Is that what we expected from St. Helens putting on that performance against Hull KR?
Yes.
Well, there you go. No, but seriously, Hull KR, I mean, they've done better than what they've shown. Like, they are a better side than what they played at against St. Helens. But St. Helens, as we said, we shut down Walmsley and shut down Wellesby. If you shut those 2 down, then you've got a chance, but that didn't happen.
They didn't have a chance from the offset. The left edge of St. Helens just went nuts.
Yes.
And literally nuts. It's because you had Sione Metautier slicing through the line early. Like, he didn't even have a hand laid on him.
No, he didn't.
And then you had Jack Wellesby and Lewis Dodd playing football, like they're playing football, not our kind of football, but the supposed recognised brand of football is. It's like they were kicking the round ball around. And then you had Tommy Makinson, who is my standout player in this game. 3 tries, 166 running meters, 3 offloads, and 5 from 8 goals converted.
You just can't give Makinson that much room and opportunity to get 3 tries.
That's the thing. Hull KR's right edge was caught flat-footed. Dodd and Wellesby just thought, all right, so he's caught flat-footed. I think Sione Metautier as well. We'll just yeet a Harbour Bridge pass out to his flank and hope for the best.
And hope for the best is what happened, really. And getting points off it at all, or pretty much at every opportunity available. But, yeah, Hull KR needs to fix up that side of the field because I'd say that's the weakest side at the moment. If they don't fix it up soon, they'll be leaking a heap more points.
But it wasn't just Hull KR's right edge defence, just the goal line defence as well. Put it to you this way, I'll try and visualise this as best I can, considering what medium we are delivering this in. Johnny Lomax puts a chip kick in, gets in behind Lachlan Coon. He's expected to field it, right? Little does he know, or he only just realises, He's got big Alex Walmsley breathing down his neck on the kick chase. He tramples Coote, or manages to get past, and grounds the ball. That would be the worst nightmare you would have. Big Al Walmsley charging, not with ball in hand, but looking to ground that ball.
And he did ground that ball. It was a pinpoint kick and really good run chase timing from Alex Walmsley there. That's why he's one of the best in the side.
And the good news is, well, I suppose it's a nice dilemma to have. But considering we're now at the beginning of March, Regan Grace will be getting close to full match fitness.
Yes.
So now...
It's taken a while, though.
So now, what do you do with Conrad Harrell?
Yeah, it's a tough question there. It's a bit of a headache for Christian Wolf as well.
But it's one you want to have, because you don't want to have Harrell out of the side, but you also want to have Regan Grace back on the left edge, where he can light up the Welsh Flyer tag all over again.
Do you put not Regan Grace, Conrad Harrell on the bench and bring him in later in the game? Or
I would have Conrad Harrell as an impact player, whether that's in the middle, on an edge, even in the backs. I would have him there. Yeah, I'd shift Makinson back over to the right edge, move Hopper Whitey from the flank into the centres. Of course, Purcell stays where he is, because that's what he does.
Yeah.
And then Regan Grace on his outside, and then Conrad Harrell maybe at the expense of Kyle Amor from this game, I think it was. But yeah, Lussick,
that sounds fair.
LMS, Sirinen, at the expense of Ignatius Parsi, I'd have to think.
That makes sense, though.
Well, Parsi and Amor, I think at the expense of both Parsi and Amor, you would have Conrad Harrell on the bench.
Yeah, because you can't leave Conrad Harrell out, because he's been a good player for him in place of Regan Grace so far this season, so he has to be in his squad somewhere.
Well, he's taken his opportunity through injury. I mean, just round one, he was the stand-up.
Yes. But either way, someone has to give way, but we just don't know who that's going to be. But like I said, it could be Parsi, or it could be
Amor. Well, I'm pretty sure Carl Amor was in the side that ran out big winners over Hull KR and really asking questions of Tony Smith at this point.
True. And that puts St. Helens 4-0.
4-0. One of only two sides to be currently 4-0.
So they're going to be obviously. We've known from pretty much round 1, round 2 that St. Helens are going to be unstoppable this year, and they're going to be in a league of their own again. And everyone else, like Hull KR, they had to try and chase that down, but Hull KR will be stuck in that middle table spot to try and make it into the playoffs, which is a long way away. But if they don't start doing things soon, they could be out of reach very, very quickly.
Well, one side that's starting to get a move on, and really at now a breathtaking speed, the Catalan Dragons, after downing the Warrington Wolves 24 points to 18. Yeah, this was honestly a result I didn't see coming.
I mean, it was a bit. I thought Warrington were going to win this one because the rate that Catalans, they've been having scrappy wins, haven't been quite themselves as of late, but they did come out and win. It was a tight game, you could say.
Oh, it was extremely tight.
It's only a converted try in it, so and anything could have happened in this,
especially in the final 2 minutes. But really, Warrington's defence and their discipline. The discipline for me was the biggest problem. How many drop balls did you see from someone in a blue and primrose shirt?
A fair bit than normal, compared to normal. It was unwarranted, like you could say. That might have cost them the game. All the errors that they made, it was just not their night. Well,
and really, Catalan were having trouble with trying to field a team. No Sam Tompkins, no Dean Vare. They actually lost Fuad Yaha in the warm-up. So then they had to actually call on, I believe it was Romain Franco to come in with Arshur Romano already named in the centres. So things weren't off to the best start up for the Catalan Dragons. And as for the Warrington errors, let's just see.
Well, they couldn't quite name a full-strength side for Catalans or whether they're full squad. They did really well.
10 errors. That's the number of errors Warrington made. 10.
Yeah, but Catalans did really well for what they had, and that's what a good professional side does.
They had Tyrone May at fullback.
Yeah. Hey, they did the best with what they had, really, and they still managed to come with victory, which is a good way to show that, hey, we might be a bit down on troops, but we can still get wins away. I know it's only a converted try in it, but Steve McNamara will be quite happy with that.
I definitely think at that point I think the second half he'll be very happy with, because I think the kicking game from Josh Drinkwater for both the tries to Matt Whitley and to Mitchell Pearce, and that try that Archie Romano scored. How many times have you seen Toby King get fouled up like that?
Not often. He made a couple of errors in the game, Tony King. That was his what I saw, a second error, I believe. Or I know he definitely made that one, but...
Because I figured the way it went, I think it was Pearce who puts up the bomb, King goes to Ildo, it's a knock-on, Davis comes in before Romano puts the kick in for himself.
Yeah.
And he grounds up. You know what? All four of the Catalan Dragons, apart from Matt Whitley's try, the next three they scored, all off kicks.
Yeah, that's true.
Including the one for Mikhail Gudemont.
That was a scrappy try, that one. It was like ping pong.
It honestly looked so dodgy that it didn't look like it was actually scored.
No, it didn't. And it was, all I can say, it's a scrappy try. And the ball was like a pinball going here, there, everywhere.
But the best 25 minutes the Catalan Dragons played was right up in the second half, where from a tight early half, the next 25 minutes they just built up, where they just dominated from that point. They had Warrington on the back foot.
They certainly did, and Warrington would have been a bit shocked by that. I have no doubt about it, but they'll come back strong next time, Warrington. Don't you worry.
Well, they're playing the reigning champion St Helens, so it only depends. But look, I think Darryl Powell will be furious ultimately, because the scrappy first half cost them dearly, and the defence in the second half didn't help much either. Even with Josh Charnley's quickfire double, he's now ruled out for the next 2 weeks. It's due to a contrary conduct, I think it was.
Yeah, that's not.
So your leading try scorer has been ruled out, so that's not good.
No, because he's scored in pretty much every game so far this season for Warrington, so that's not good at all.
So it will be a big test with Saints right around the corner. And as for the Catalan Dragons, their opponents await them in the south of France. The Wigan Warriors only just getting the best of Toulouse Olympique 29-28.
This was Toulouse's best game to date in a Super League by far.
And this was against a quality opponent.
Yes. As I've been saying, Toulouse have been averaging about between 12 and 18 points, I think. 18 being the previous highest. They've bettered that. They almost had that victory. I have to congratulate Toulouse of how, I know it's only one match, but they have been slowly getting there week after week. They've been constantly getting into double figures.
I will say, Tony Gigo's kicking game, because I have been critical of Tony Gigo in the past, but this time, he got it right.
Yes.
He troubled the Wigan Warriors airily. He put kicks up. I think it was Paul Marcon comes in. Guy Armitage is waiting in the backfield, ready to field the ball that was batted back. He gets 2 tries off kicks.
Yeah, and I think they're both... No, one, sorry. Yeah, one's from a tap back, and the other one was... He got, through 3 defenders?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 3 defenders.
It's called, but Toulouse were all over Wigan, which was brilliant to see.
There was a big period in the second half where Toulouse really had control all over it.
Well, they had 2 drop goals
within
a minute.
That's the problem. The drop goals probably cost them. I mean, you know how it goes. You kick a first half drop goal, you deserve.
Well, 2 first half drop goals, I think.
Well,
no.
Not always, but you just don't usually kick first half drop goals. I mean,
Tony Gito got one 10 metres out.
But
And then
Eloy Pellicier's
on
drop
the
goal.
angle and 20 metres
I
out.
thought he was going to miss that straight up.
Yeah, so did I. But it was a good kick though. Had the height, I think it just had the length on it. So, no, but 2 drop goals in the first half you don't see very often. But unfortunately, wasn't quite enough for him.
No, it wasn't. But at the same time, Toulouse did fall foul of allowing Jai Field into the backfield.
Yes. Obviously his first try, but also off the scrum as well.
Just raw speed that they just didn't counter. You can't give him that much room to move. And Jai Field was a standout performer for me. 2 tries, 1 try assist further, 148 run meters, 4 tackle breaks, and an offload.
It just goes to show how well he has come on this season. Like, I know he had a rough season last year, but he's coming on really strong this year. And it's good.
Third game. What has he got within 4 matches already? He was goal kicker in round 1. He got a try. He got a double in, I think. No, actually, hat trick against the Wigan Warriors.
Didn't he get 4 tries somewhere along the line in one match, or was that the hat trick I was thinking of?
The hat trick against Leeds in round 2.
Yeah.
And I think he's now gone back-to-back doubles right here.
He has to be one of the top try scorers so far this season.
He's just flown out of the blocks. Literally, and that's no joke, flown out of the blocks.
No, it's not. But he's got the speed, he's got the talent, he's just been in the right place at the right time, and he finished them off perfectly.
And speaking about the right place at the right time, Harry Smith as well. Of course, brought in because Wigan had planned a 2-week camp across the south of France, with Toulouse 1 week and then Catalan the next, so they decided best to rest Tommy Lualai for the Catalan game and give young Smith an opportunity. Didn't disappoint. 2 try assists, 33 run meters, 2, or maybe just 1 tackle break as it currently stands.
A drop goal.
The drop goal.
An 18 metre drop goal to seal the victory for Wigan.
And that was a very tight affair after that, because that game could go either way. In the back 20, after Liam Marshall goes over to make the try the difference, and then of course Jai Field scores the match-winning levelling try, and Harry Smith steps up right on full time.
Yeah,
really hurts to lose. But
it would have hurt to lose, but they would have gone away with that feeling a lot more confident, and they should have gone out of that game with their heads up.
Yeah, well, we'll see how well they back it up this week. Now, Huddersfield corrected for last week's poor showing against Wigan with a 34-2 domination over the Sulphur Red Devils.
Don't ask that. That's 2 weeks in a row. 2 weeks in a row that Salford had gone shit. So 2-2 to start the season. Come out the blocks, we're running 2 and win, and now they've gone on to lose the following 2. I don't know how to take that.
How can you pinpoint the exact moment where you realised the match for Salford went wrong?
Pretty much when Will Price scored.
Well, that's a good place to start, because that was an avalanche. A pure avalanche, plain and simple, from that, where you had Will Price against a staggered Salford defensive line simply say, oh, you open this up for me? All right, I'm going to slide right on in. And slide right on in, and he did.
Yes, he did.
And then you allow the kicking game of Tui Loahea to step in, and where he's already got 2 try assists to his name from fullback, including 1 for Chris McQueen, again, who's been in superb try-scoring form to open the campaign. And then I believe that 1 of the tries went the way of Innes Senior.
His first one or his last one?
I think the first try.
The first one, yes. But, yeah. Salford are a bit of a form slump. at the
Form
moment.
slump. You're on life support.
Oh, well, 2-2's not bad, but it's not.
And even when you
brilliant
tried to
either.
make something happen, you get pickpocketed by Jermaine McGilvery.
Yeah, that was not necessary there. I don't know what Salford.
It's one of those that just shut the gate.
Yeah, there was no way. As soon as McGilvery got that ball, it was goodbye.
And if you thought that try was soft, then Chris Hill's try you have to factor in as well.
Yeah.
You let him drop down. What did we talk about out previously in the NRL Debrief? Don't let the player drop, especially front rowers.
Yes, you try and hold them up.
I saw none of that
No,
from the
me
Sulphur
neither.
defenders.
Me neither. I don't know. I wasn't getting too excited when Sulphur won the first 2 weeks. So I knew it was a long way to go. But now I'm starting to lose my words. I was like, where do we go from here? I know it's only 2 losses, but it's 2 losses in a row after starting well. So I just don't know where to go from here. To be honest, I'm starting to lose losing words. But good win for Huddersfield though.
Well, they're 3-1 to start the year. Yeah, that's a pretty decent. But I tell you what, it's a lot better than the Casper Tigers right now. Finally getting their first win on the board, downing Hull FC 33-26. Will Price might stand up for the Huddersfield Giants. 1 try, 47 run meters, 3 tackle breaks, 2 offloads, and 5 from 8 goals converted, playing at scrum half.
Yeah, I can understand why for that one there.
Be interesting when Theo Farge comes back.
Yes, it would be. Whenever that is, a few weeks away yet. Yeah, but as you was, now we're going to the next game, like you said, Castleford 33, Hull FC 26. This one had a fair bit in it. Although, I have to say,
right from the start, it did.
Yes. An error from the kickoff allows Smith to score.
Not what you want when you're looking for a fast start.
No. And then Houghton, absolutely no one was in front of him to stop him. And then Greg Eden scores from a rebound off Hull. One of his 3 tries he got in the match. Like, what's going on? Like, I know the score must suggest it was a narrow, not a narrow victory, a tight contest, which in a way it was, but in a way it wasn't as well, because parts of the game, Castleford were dominant.
Oh, I agree. I'm with you. The Tigers did have Hull FC's number for large parts of both halves, but they also did have their moments of weakness.
Exactly. And in moments of weakness is where Hull FC capitalised to try and get their own points on the board.
I will say I did like the interchange of passing that led up to the Josh Griffin try. That was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, that was an awesome setup there. One person that scored that's been very quiet this season in my view is Adam Swift there. He managed to bag a try. I feel he's been a bit quiet this season, but that's just me. He hasn't been scoring as consistently as what he has been, or he did in 2021. So that might boost his confidence a bit more. I don't know what's going on there though.
It's a question, isn't it? But I think there are questions that need to be asked at Hull FC again, because they allowed Casper to jump out to 2 try leads, only to chase them down, but they can't chase them down hard enough.
No. Because you had, before O'Brien's 19-metre drop goal, you had Swift win, score back-to-back, and then Greg Eden getting his 3rd try for the match, and then Shaw scoring.
Well, he embarrassed Jake Connor, fair to say. 3 tries. That 3rd try just absolutely stood him up and took him on.
double pump. Like, seriously.
3 tackle breaks and 3 line breaks. And
Yeah.
Connor's no slouch. He's pretty physical, so to get it away from him...
It was a pretty impressive game from Greg Eden. I think it's one of the...
It was actually his first game of the year.
I was going to say, it's probably one of it... You beat me to... I was going to say, that's probably his best game so far this season, but it's his first game of the season, so... There you go.
But the setup work from Jake Connor, both for the Connor win and the Jamie Shaw tries, that's just pure magic.
Well, Jamie Shaw's try was quite easy, I have to say, in my view.
That beautiful cut-up pass for Jamie Shaw to streak away down the right-hand side. And the kick beautifully weighted for Connor win as well.
Yeah, and that was on the angle too. Like, the ball was going one way, he was going to go that way, and he kind of put it down, and it's kind of still going on the angle. So that was usually sometimes hard to get, but he managed to get that one perfect.
Perfection from Jake Connor. In a losing side, they almost came up with the win.
Almost.
But there's almost, and that it was coming away with the win. And that's what Castleford did. Just icing the cake with the drop goal from Gareth O'Brien. But is it enough to turn Castleford's season around?
Well, we had to wait and see against the next opponents.
Well, speaking of the next opponents, we'll now be ready to jump into round 5 of the Betfred Super League. And it is once again with Hull FC. This time I'm travelling across Yorkshire to face the Leeds Rhinos at Headingley Stadium.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough match.
One change looming likely for the Blue and Amber. Harry Newman looks like he's been ruled out with the hamstring injury. So I would expect James Broadbent to be named in the centres, or Tom Briscoe to be named in the centres.
Well, they've both been named in the 21-man squad, Briscoe and Broadbent.
I would think Briscoe gets the nod. Although I'd like to see Jack Broadbent get a run.
Yeah. Who knows what Richard Agar does.
And, of course, Liam Tyndall and Jared O'Connor named as well. El having played for the Bradford Bulls over the weekend. And as for Hull, a couple of other depth names named in there. But really looks like they're going to be unchanged again.
Consistency is key in the world of rugby league. I know you can't help it sometimes, but at this time of the season, consistency is all it takes to have a shot at the end of the season.
I really liked what I saw out of the Leeds Rhinos, especially in attack. I definitely think in the left edge, the cohesion they had worked superbly. And I really think that balance really complements. And it's between Gannon, Handley, Sutcliffe, and with Walker sweeping round the back.
That's starting to form a nice little combo there. Whether or not that combination will continue throughout the duration of the season, we'll have to wait and see. But I hope it does, because they could bring some special things this season.
At the moment, I really like what I'm seeing from Leeds, but Hull are just too hot and cold to really get a firm read on. 1 minute, they could have Jake Connor pulling off some spectacular try assist or even scoring himself. And then you get a performance like they did against St. Helens when it was just, they get rolled. They just get rolled instantly.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to go with the Leeds Rhinos winning on a 7-12 margin.
Look, I'm going to have to go the way the Leeds Rhinos as well. They seem to be the better, like you said, in a better form, and Hull FC are in the hot and cold bracket, and they did come off a narrow loss to Castleford. I'm going to say Leeds. I'm going to say Leeds 7-12 as well.
I think this is the part where Richard Agar kicks things in the gear at Headingley.
I have to agree with you there too.
Now, moving on, we've got Wakefield Trinity playing host to Toulouse Olympique. Of course, Toulouse going down narrowly to a drop goal against the Wigan Warriors. But I'm going to think Sylvain Houlet's men will actually be buoyed by that result.
Look, it's the best result all season from Toulouse, and they came oh so close of getting the first victory ever in the Super League. So they'll be going into this match full of confidence, even though they did lose by a point. But
We have seen in the past what happens when a side loses close games like that, and they often get rolled the next week.
yes.
But I actually think, instead of thinking, sacre bleu, we've lost another game, they should be getting there. It's like, okay, so we lost, but this was a top 6 contender, maybe even second final. Let us actually play like we are playing against that standard every week, and we might actually win a couple.
Yeah, exactly right there. Very good French accent right there. The best you could do. Both these teams are 9-4 to start the year.
And I'm still very much unconvinced by Wakefield, especially after getting rorted 5 tries north in the first half.
Yeah. So one of these sides are going to come out for the first victory and go 1-5 to start the year. 1-4 to start the year, sorry. And one is going to go 0-5.
I think this is the moment Toulouse have been waiting for. I think if Tony Gigo's kicking game is up to scratch again, and now with that stability of having Ollie Ashel-Bott in the back, like directing things, defence and the attack, I think Toulouse can now build towards really trying to secure their place in Super League. A slow start they've had, but...
Which was expected, to be quite honest.
But I think if I had to say that what their moment was, I'd say the time is now to strike. I think Toulouse will walk away with their first victory of the campaign, 1-6 winners.
I'm not convinced by Wakefield, and if Toulouse do that performance again against Wakefield,
They would win.
they
I have
would
no
win.
doubt they would win.
And like they did put up a very, very good fight with Wigan Warriors last week. I'm going to say Toulouse 7-12.
I think this is
And like you said, Tony Gigo's kicking game. Sorry, his kicking game has to be on point again.
Now going from West Yorkshire to Greater Manchester, the Sulphur Red Devils playing host to Tony Smith's Robins at the AJ Bell Stadium, with Dan Sargentson, of course, in the second week of being ruled out long term, and coming off that embarrassing breakdown of attacking play against the Giants.
Yes.
With a KR side that will more than likely be motivated to avenge that 7-2 shellacking at the hands of the Saints.
Yes, so both teams are coming off heavy defeats, which is not good for either club. I don't know how it's a flip of a coin, this one, to be quite honest with you. Salford put on no tries, only a penalty goal, but Holker managed to at least get a try on the board.
2 tries.
Sorry, 2 tries.
Brian Hall to trail 6-4, and then Sean Kennedy-Dow of the late consolation.
Was it Sean Kennedy-Dow? Oh, I haven't got Sean Kennedy-Dow. Was it Halton?
Oh no, Frankie Holton, that was it.
Holton.
Kennedy-Dow with the try assist.
Yes. So, coming into this match, Holker have got the slight momentum behind them. Only a little bit, as they managed to get...
I haven't really been impressed by Jordan Adville's kicking game, and Mikey Lewis can't run the show on his own, despite the amount of times he tries to take on the line, score the spectacular tries himself. They need to grind Salford here.
But Salford need to bounce back.
Yeah, whole KR 13 plus.
I knew you were going to say that. Now, in all honesty, I'm actually going to go whole KR as well. Salford, Sutton's up there. I'm not quite sure. To go 2-0 to start the year, then go 2-2. Not looking good. So I'm going to say whole KR in 7-12. Says the one that's wearing the Salford. They're pretty much a full home Salford kit for this year.
Only the socks is missing.
I was going to wear them as too warm here in Australia today.
Now, we've got the main event of the round. St Helens up against the Warrington Wolves. And already Warrington are in a bit of trouble with no Josh Charnley and with no Matt Davis.
That's a bit of an issue heading into a massive clash.
Against
One of the games
the
of the
reigning
round.
champions in flying form, who, on average, concede one try across 4 matches average.
Yeah, it's going to be not looking good for Warrington.
They have not been able to break them down defensively. Warrington, last year, were able to do that when they met at the Halliwell Jones Stadium. They were able to hold Saints tryless.
Which is rare.
But at the moment, Warrington need to cut out the errors.
Yes.
And better ends the sets. It's as well. That's a big thing that needs to be looked at.
Heading into last week's match against Catalan, Warrington were on fine form. And then you lose a player or two when things turn around.
They got rattled. They got rattled by the Catalan Dragons' defence. And the fact that Catalan got that first try on the board.
Yeah.
But
so
the kick, the vulnerable, they just need to improve their discipline for this.
And like I said, losing Josh Charnley and
Matt Davis
does not help their cause at all.
Well,
especially Charnley, who's been a try-scoring weapon out wide.
More than likely now, this opens the door for Greg Minikin to find his way into the side. Or even Connor Wrench if they want to push Peter Matadia out to the flank.
True. I'm sure Darryl Powell would have one of those options getting into use. But it's a bad time because St. Helens are 4-0 at the start of the year. They are unstoppable.
4-0. I think the correct terminology will be to say that St. Helens will be 5-0 and they'll do it on a 7-12 margin. Maybe 13 plus, but I think 7-12 seems fair enough.
I'm going to go the same as you, St. Helens. But the margin, I think, is going to be really touch and go. It's going to be 7, 12, or 13 plus. It's depending how well Warrington put up a fight. So, in that case, I'm going to go St. Helens 1-6.
You're going for a tighter game. I'm going for a bit of a looser game. But still, it's a St. Helens going 5-0. Now, the first of the Sunday doubleheader. Yes, 2 games on a Sunday morning on Sky Sports. First being the Huddersfield Giants up against the Casper Tigers. And here's the question. Will Theo Farge actually feature in the side?
Didn't we not question that last week? I think
Too much ban he was serving. I thought his ban was up, but apparently doesn't seem that way.
Well, there you go. So, I'd say he will be playing this week.
But here's the question. What do you do with Will Price?
Either bring him off the bench or bring Theo Farge off the bench.
No, I wouldn't have Farge off the bench.
Or we put Will Price off the bench then.
Well, it's either going to be him or it's going to be Ollie Russell, but at the moment, I don't think you can leave either one of them. But I think this is the thing. You're not going to have either one of them sitting out.
No.
They're going to be in the 17.
Yeah, but whereabouts is the question. And who starts off the bench and who doesn't.
I think that's the only question that can be asked of Ian Watson, really. I think that's up to him to decide what's the best balance at the moment. But I'm really liking what the Giants are doing at the moment. And a good start, a 3-1 start to the season. I think they can go 4-1, 13 plus. I don't think Castleford will be able to back up what they did against Hull FC.
Well, as you know, Castleford had the first victory against Hull FC, the first of the year. So they're 1-4 start the year. They're going to make it they're 1-3 at the moment. Going to go, and I'll say it's going to be 1-4 for Castleford. So that means Huddersfield will win in, I'm going to say, a 7-12 margin.
I think you've got the unpredictability of Will Price on one side, but then you've got Tuilahi's kicking game, short kicking game especially, that sets up tries left and right. Whether you're Chris McQueen or you're Innesy on the left flank. But I'm really liking what's going on at Huddersfield at the moment.
Yeah.
Will they be top 6? Well, it's only round 5, so still very early to tell.
It is very, very early to tell indeed.
And finally, we wrap things up in round 5 with the Catalan Dragons playing host to the Wigan Warriors.
The Warriors are going so well this season. They're a lot better than what they were last season. consistency-wise at the moment. They've been consistent. I think they're the only team on Southside Hunters to go 4-0.
They got tested by Toulouse last time out, and that's saying a lot about where the Wigan Warriors are at the moment. Meanwhile, you look at the Catalan Dragons, they have had to deal with adversity, and yet now they are sitting 3-1 very comfortably.
Yes.
On a 3-game winning run. And here's the thing, they're getting reinforcements.
Catalan.
Gil Dudson.
Yeah.
Dylan Napa, I believe his 4-game ban's now up. Oh no, round 6. But Dudson's ban's up.
How can Dylan Harper's 4-game be up when he's...
2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, yeah, he'd be back around 6. Yeah, sorry.
And if they get Sam Tompkins back on top of that, now you've got yourself an interesting prospect.
Yeah, but it's massive ifs, so we need to see if Tompkins is playing too.
That is the question. But I think we're seeing the Catalan Dragons starting to build up again. I think we saw the last 2 weeks real grit from the men from one part of southern France. And I think the Wigan Warriors, they know what they're up for. The question is, can they do it?
Well, I'm liking Wigan so far this season in their 150th year. They're doing well so far this season. And Catalan, so their wins have been scrappy. They've been not dominating as much as what they used to. They were in 2021, but new seasons bring new challenges and the likes. They haven't been up to scratch as what I thought they were going to be. So I think I am leaning towards Wigan Warriors to win this match. And I'm going to say a 1-6 margin.
Defensive resilience builds titles, builds grand final sides. I think, even though we haven't seen the best of the Catalan Dragons, I think we're now starting to see that. And if they get Farre back in the lineup, they get Sam Tompkins back, and of course getting some reinforcements in the middle, that's a big thing as well. I'm actually going to go for an upset. I'm going to say the Catalan Dragons, at home, win 1-6.
Very good prediction.
And finally, our Betfred Championship Spotlight, and we take a look at Odsal, where the Bradford Bulls overcame the Batley Bulldogs 21 points to 20.
That was a very, very close match indeed, and I have to say, unpredictable.
Didn't really help Bradford's case, kicking it off on the full from the kickoff.
Well, no, that did not help at all. But they regained themselves and they didn't let that get into their heads, and they come back and, yeah.
It was tight, and really Batley threw everything they could at the Bulls.
They certainly did, and it was pretty much try for try, goal for goal, pretty much the whole game, I could say. There was really no part of the match that one team was more dominant than the others. They were kind of very, very 50-50.
And it took up until, you'd have to say, it practically took up until the 80th minute, where Bradford's scrum half, Jordan Lilly, steps up from 38 metres out to slide one through to send the Bradford Bulls into the winners column.
Yeah, that was a very good drop goal right there. I thought he was just going to miss it, but it just went over the crossbar, which is all you need for it to just go over.
It went so close. It was touch and go. I would say it was touch and go.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen instances before where the drop goal, the ball has hit the crossbar to go over it, and the offside's then hit the crossbar and come back out to the field of play. But this one just narrowly scraped the crossbar, I think.
Yeah, I was very impressed. And the right edge of Bradford, there were some good tries scored down that side as well.
Yeah, it certainly was. And that seems to be the strongest side. But, and it's anything to go by. It was a good match, and I'd say so far the best one of the season.
Well, it puts the Bulls level, or they break even on their campaign. They're now 2-2. And if not for points differential, they would be just 2 points short of... Well, they are 2 points at the top 6, but they'd be in the 6, but points differential in favour of Sheffield, Batley, and Newcastle have them sitting in 9th.
So they're close.
One win, but the points differential, they're negative 17 versus Sheffield's positive 50.
So they need to have a couple decent wins and results to go in their favour.
Oh, they will. They definitely will, of the teams that have been able to get results up and try and chase down Featherstone. Still top of the table, 5-0, really pulled away from half the league at this point.
And I think Sylvain Houle mentioned that in our 2-on-1 interview. He said that Featherstone will be up there this season. And so far he's correct.
Yeah, still a long way to go though. Anything can happen here. But what's happening here right now is that is full time from us. If you liked either this part or the NRL debrief from yesterday, make sure you leave a like, hit that subscribe button, click the bell for notifications so you never miss a week of rugby league action. Don't forget to give us a follow on our social media pages. On Facebook and Instagram, it is at Sideline Chat, and on Twitter, it is Sideline Chat RL. Hope you enjoy all the action of the rugby league this weekend, whether you're in England, France, or even in Australia with the NRL kicking off. We hope you enjoy it. And along with Mark Hendry, I'm Connor Marcells, and we'll see you next week for another week on the sideline.
Go the Dragons.
Up the doggies. We'll see you next week.
See you, folks.